Hi, my name is Tristan Gory and I'm going to talk about API. So, um, this is what we are going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about what is an API and I'm going to explain what is the three most common technologies in API, which are SOAP, REST, and GraphQL. And after that, I will demonstrate you the use of an API. So, what is an API? APIs are a set of functions and procedures that allow for the creation of applications that access data and features of other applications, services, or operating system. Good APIs makes it easier to develop a computer program by providing all the building blocks which are then put together by the programmer. To describe the concept in further detail, you need to comprehend the basics. Let's start with my personal favorite analogy of a restaurant menu. When you go to the restaurant to eat, you choose from the selection on the menu. From this point, you convey your choices to the waiter. He or she then takes your choices to the chef. They prepare your meal, and it's returned to you for a nice meal. From this point, you may ask yourself, do you know what the chef used in your fish or in your steak? How was it prepared? This back and forth analogy serves as a starting point for this explanation. Why? Because with an API, you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes, at the restaurant, for example. All you really know is that you gave your food order, it was processed, and out came your dinner on a nice plate. For a real world example, buying movie tickets online, you go to the movie site, you enter your movie, name and credit card information, and then you print out your tickets. But what's going on between entering your information to receiving your tickets? APIs did the job. That's what they are created for. They are collaborating behind the scenes with other applications. How was it possible? How is it possible, you ask? This type of integration is called seamless because you never have a clue when a software role is passed from one application to another. That's as simple as that. So, to go further, uh, I'm going to explain to you what are SOAP API, REST API, and GraphQL API. So, what is a SOAP API? SOAP, or Simple Object Access Protocol, is a web communication protocol designed for Microsoft back in 1998. But nowadays, it's mostly used to expose web services and transmit data over HTTP or HTTPS. But it's not limited to them. SOAP, unlike the REST pattern, supports the XML data format only and strongly follows preset standards such as messaging structure, a set of encoding rules, and a convention for providing procedure requests and responses. The built-in functionality to create web-based services allows SOAP to handle communications and make response language and platform independent. While most web data exchange happens over REST exchanges, SOAP isn't disappearing anytime soon. Not at all, because it's highly standardized, allows for automation in certain cases, and it's more secure. That's why SOAP is not going to disappear, because SOAP is really easy to use and is still used in a lot of cases. So, what is REST API? Because when you have to choose for an API, and just or if just you want to know what is an API, you might type what is an API on internet or on in Google, and you will find SOAP versus REST. So I'm going to explain to you what is REST. What is a REST API? REST API, or Representational State Transfer, is a software architectural style that defines a set of constraints to be used for creating web services. Web services that conform to the REST architectural style, called RESTful web services, provide interoperability between computer systems on the internet. RESTful web services allow the requesting system to access and manipulate textual representations of web resources by using a uniform and predefined sets of stateless operations. Other kinds of web services, such as SOAP web services, expose their own arbitrary sets of operations, as I said before. Web resources were first defined on the World Wide Web as documents or files identified by their URLs. However, today they have a much more generic and abstract definition that encompasses everything, entity or action that can be identified, named, addressed, handled, or performed in any way whatsoever on the web. In a RESTful web service, requests made to a resource's URL will elicit a response with a payload formatted in HTML, XML, or JSON, or some other format. The response can confirm that some alteration has been made to resource state, and the response can provide hypertext links to the other related resources. When HTTP is used, as is most common, the operation HTTP methods available are get, head, post, put, patch, delete, connect options, and trace. By using a stateless protocol and standard operations, RESTful systems aim for fast performance, reliability, and the ability to grow by reusing components that can be managed and updated without affecting the system as a whole, even while it is running. That's why now REST API is the most used and the most common API. But you will see that the other and last one we're going to talk about, the GraphQL API, is not is still is really good and still used and used in a lot of cases, such as, for example, a very common application, Instagram uses the GraphQL API. So, what is a GraphQL API? GraphQL is a syntax that describes how to ask for data and is generally used to load data from a server to a client. GraphQL has three main characteristics. One, it lets the client specify exactly what data it needs. Two, it makes it easier to aggregate data from multiple sources. And three, it uses a type system to describe data. With a GraphQL, the user is able to make a single call to fetch the required information rather than to construct several REST requests to fetch the same. That's why SOAP, REST, and GraphQL are different, and that's why they exist, because SOAP is more secure than the REST API, but the REST API is really flexible, and the GraphQL is faster. So there is several uses for each API. For an example for the GraphQL API, GitHub uses GraphQL API as it offers more flexibility for the developers. The option to precisely generate the information that a user wants is a great advantage over sending multiple REST calls to receive the same. To generate the information using REST calls would require a two-stage process: one to gather the information of the user, and the other to fetch the information about the organization the user is associated with. GraphQL helps alleviate this two-step process. Thanks for listening, and see you next with the demonstration. This is my sources. Hi, welcome back for the second part of my video on the APIs. In this part, I will show you how to use an API which is made for ordering pizza at Domino's Pizza. So this API comes from GitHub. I will share the link. So we don't have a lot of time, so I will just I won't live code this, but it's really easy. So in the first place, you have to create a customer, which is from PizzaPI customer. The customer takes a few arguments: only your name, first name, last name, address, mail, your phone number, and your address. This customer is used for to find the closest store. To find the closest store, you have to create a variable which take the customer and get the address. So in my case, there is no closest store open, so it won't work. I can't show you the result, but you have to trust me. Then you can browse the menu. You have to import a menu for that. So the variable menu is equal to all the menu, and then you will browse through the variable menu. So for example, you're looking for Coke to know different types of Coke, if there is different types of Coke. So you do menu.search Coke, and you will see the different types of Coke and their ID, because you need their ID to place an order. After that, you import order to create your order. So you create your variable order, and then you do order.begin customer order, and you add two arguments, which are me, the customer, and my closest store, to create an order for this customer at this store. Then you can add or remove items. In my case, I just want a 2-liter bottle of Coke. I won't remove, but you just have to replace add by remove if you want to remove something. In this case, it will add a 2-liter Coke, bottle of Coke. Then you have to pay, so you import a credit card. So you create a variable credit card. With the function credit card, there is 4 arguments. The number of your credit card, expiration, CCV, and zip code. So it's obviously a false one. After that, you have to place an order with your card created here. And after that, you place an order with your card at this closest store. Order is equal to the customer and your closest store. So it's here and the card. And after that's done. You have ordered a pizza. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.